Alrighty, we're getting ready to go into the first game of the day. It's going to be MNM on the blue side and London on the red side. I'm not actually 100% sure how side selection works. I probably should have asked that in the break, but I assume it's losing team, which is what we were doing.
I think the way that normally works is, losing team will get side selection per game.
Yeah.
So yes, I believe coming into this, MNM were seeded higher, so I imagine they would have gone side selection. And
yes,
that's at least my bold assumption. I'm sure admin might correct me on that, but they are going to be on the blue side. And yeah, into picks and bans already. Lee Sin taken off the board for no name immediately. I am not surprised. His most two recent games on that champion absolutely popped off. Just pressure everywhere. And it's just such an irritating pick to deal with. And London removing away the Ziggs pick, which we saw MNM first pick on blue side, and it looked really damn strong. So I'm not surprised to see that one moved away. A lot of focus on no name with the second ban as well. So Diana out off the table, which if they ban out another jungler or another champion, which is shared in no name's champion pool, I'm expecting MNM to actually first pick a jungler if that's the route that they're going to go down. But for now, over to London. Got things like the Thresh if you want to move that away. Other target bans as well, like Lucian, Tristana onto Vango can come out. But for now, we're going to see the Diego.
A lot of these powerful mid laners that we mentioned have been left open. The Lucian, the Tristana, obviously the LeBlanc as well. I don't think the LeBlanc is blind pickable, but it is a champion that both Beely and Vango play. When it started showing up, these were the first two to pick it up. So it is a champion we know is in their wheelhouse. The Nautilus getting denied from Jeppe. Understandable ban, actually. He has been pretty good on Jeppe in the latter half of the split. And now London looking to take away their final ban here. Curious to see what it's going to be. There's still a fair few things open. Things like the Akali are up, as well as the Xin Zhao. And I think MNM are kind of baiting that out here. I feel like this has to be a Xin Zhao ban. But actually, they go for the Thresh. So MNM probably just take the Xin Zhao first here. Yeah,
I'm looking at the Xin Zhao most... absolutely. Xin Zhao locked in. Ban away the Nautilus. It makes London have to focus quite heavily on the Thresh ban just because of the way that the lane matchup typically works. And of course, the Olma and Landon interaction, it can be very difficult to not have Nautilus in the game. Leaves Xin Zhao open and now over to London. Can pick up the Gwen here. Aka's looked really damn strong in it. And you can rotate something like the Lucian with this. You can take as well the Tristana just to get the mixed damage profiles on the top side, which we of course know Beely is more than capable of playing either of those two champions. And the thing about this Gwen as well, we do now know with 100% certainty that this is a flex between no-name and Aka's. However, yesterday they did put a lot of preference on having Aka's on the Gwen. So we'll have to see, depending on how the draft goes, whether MNM have a read exactly on whether or not it is going to be Aka's Gwen. But first rotation LeBlanc, you said it wouldn't be blindable, but honestly, I think when you take into context the Xin Zhao first pick, you don't want to give over that mid-jungle 2v2. So I totally understand from London. And now I'm thinking, what exactly are MNM looking at? Because, typically you would want to lock in something like the Lucian against the LeBlanc, right? A lot of lane priority, a lot of pressure there to deal with that. But it's going to be the Lissandra. Okay, so going more towards the LPL kind of style of things. Trying to get that strong lockdown in the mid lane so that if LeBlanc ever, dashes in, the CC is immediately there. And as long as you can follow up some really nice burst damage, you're always going to be able to kill her. And in 2v2 at level 6, the Xin Zhao plus the Lissandra, the amount of CC you're giving a Xin Zhao is way too much. So more than often than not, you're probably going to win out there. And we're also going to see a Karma in the same rotation. So a lot of utility, a lot of CC, a front line. Do need to see a little bit of engage come out from MNM, but over to London, you've got this strong sort of setup mid laner. Do you want to pick up a skirmishing jungler, whatever is up, left, and available? Do you want to pick up a bottom laner? Because quite frankly, you still need one of those. Gwen and LeBlanc going to end up on the top side. I think I'm looking towards probably Hepe's pick, though Mankey, a lot of utility picks in his back pocket as well. He could go for here, and there is going to be the Seraphine. So for both these teams right now, utility, a little bit of CC, definitely some damage. I think on the London side, lacking a little more on the front line side of things, but can still round out their composition relatively nicely. However, I will say very heavy on the magic damage. So wouldn't be surprised to see MNM ban away any more physical champions that they can think of out of potentially Aka's or no-name's pool.
I really would like to see MNM just ban away any kind of aggressive skirmishing junglers. I think you've got this LeBlanc. Obviously, Lissandra's going to be really good at shoving LeBlanc in, but if LeBlanc, you pair LeBlanc up with a strong jungler, it's a really nasty little combo you have there. And the pickup from Beely was, first of all, a bit of a comfort pickup, but also a big denial. Xin Zhao plus LeBlanc is honestly a doomed mid 2v2, mid jungle 2v2. So we'll see what the answers are going to be here. London didn't ban anything, which is a bit interesting. Volibear, that though. I really like the Volibear. Again, strong jungler you can pair up with that LeBlanc.
Yeah, absolutely. And after this, I feel like the tier list kind of drops off because like the top four will be Xin Zhao, Volibear, Lee Sin, and Viego when you talk about pairings of LeBlanc. In terms of the meta right now, I can't think of a fifth one. So honestly, MNM, they can maybe switch their focus if they feel like the Gwen might end up in No Name's hands. I wouldn't be surprised to see something along the lines of like a Narban away from Akka's, just because they don't really need to focus on No Name's champion pool anymore. Yeah. They still can if they want to hit on it again, but I feel like, you know, an Akka's Narban to maybe pick up something like the Renekton or the set wouldn't be too bad. But okay, yeah, smart ban actually with the Olaf. So Olaf kind of runs through Lissandra CC. That's a very understandable ban. But London missing out that ban, only have the Braum ban in their pocket. So let's see what exactly they're going to pair up this Seraphine with, because you still got a couple of engaged supports up. Stuff like Alistar could be an option for Hepe.
Leona as well.
Could go Leona as well, yeah. And this Hover, I imagine it gets locked in. So you've got a lot of CC, still a lot of magic damage on this side for London. And MNM have literally banned out just about every AD meta jungler there is. So I'm now starting to think maybe we see the Gwen go into No Name's hands and we see Akka's actually get a pick at the top side. Maybe a carry. It's an R5 pick, so he's going to have a lot of flexibility to do what he wants.
I am just very worried about the amount of AP on the side of London right now. There is not a very mixed damage profile. Now, the one thing they can work around is the fact that there's actually no tanks picked up yet for MNM. So something that is going to be able to handle that. We'll see what this final rotation is going to be. Remember, Karma technically a little bit flexible, so it can get moved around. We'll see what they're going to look to put on the top side. They are going to give him the Renekton over to Aragon. And now for London is the Gwen going in the jungle, or is it going in the top lane?
I think you have to give it to
If you go jungle, though,
I think you have to give it to
my only worry is if you go jungle, you just have a double AP jungle mid. And the reason you picked the LeBlanc, there we go.
Oh,
there we go. That's much more like it. Giving yourself some AD threat, some real AD threat, and whoa, hold on, Kha'Zix. Go on, Ninjamada. Go on.
So double assassin, there isn't really, you know, he's got a couple of decent targets. I think as the game goes on, Lissandra's going to get harder and harder to obviously take down. Renekton's not going to be great. I think this Kha'Zix is going to be used more of sort of a W evolution kind of poke / irritating type Kha'Zix. Yeah. And if he can find opportunities to attack some of these lanes, then he definitely will. But I'm looking at Kha'Zix and I'm saying, okay, he wants to farm to 6, wait until he can actually find opportunities, whereas Xin Zhao can get aggressive much faster. And he's got quite a few decent lanes, mid, top. The bottom lane, you probably want to steer away from. However, I mean, depending on how the poke wars go between the Karma and Ezreal, you might feel pretty inclined to go down there. So I think MNM have a lot of decent options. As far as the Kha'Zix is concerned, I think it's more looking to play a nuisance as the game goes on, and then try and capitalize on any things like MNM step out of position a lot, especially when they pick up a lead, they try and push up their vision lines. You will often see people isolated, whether it's Gaddanika, whether it's Clock sometimes, or even Vango, just kind of make these, I'm not going to say uncharacteristic missteps, because they are very characteristic, but kind of out of line missteps, which Kha'Zix as a champion punishes really well. So I don't mind Kha'Zix in the context of this matchup. I think it's going to be relatively difficult to play out, but if his lanes can sustain the early game and be relatively self-sufficient, I think the Kha'Zix pick has a little bit of room to maneuver.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious to see what the build is, because a while ago we had like the Gordrinker build.
Yeah, like I think it will be the Gordrinker build.
Yeah, it's kind of where my head is at on what we'll probably see from No Name, but you can go, Dustblade or Eclipse and go full, I'm going to pop you in a single rotation build.
Yeah, so I've been finally sitting in with a couple of players watching solo queue again, which has been really great. And I've been seeing a lot of Kha'Zix actually pop up, surprisingly. And it has actually been the Conqueror, Gordrinker, sometimes even Sterak, second item, in a full-on bruiser build. And it works very, very well. You have a lot of sustain between Conqueror, your W, the Spike Rack healing is genuinely kind of obnoxious, and the cooldown is very short. It can be as low as sort of like 5-ish seconds. By the time you max in, you've got a little bit of haste in your build. So I can see this being a bit of a nuisance pick. However, Karma can reveal the invisibility with the Tether, I'm 90% sure. And you still got, things like the Renekton, the Xin Zhao, and the Lissandra, which are going to jump on you in team fights. So he's going to have to pick his moments very, very opportunely, No Name. Otherwise, it's going to be a relatively difficult game to pilot out when it comes to these team fights.
Just a quick update. We are still on our faces. Unfortunately, it wouldn't be a UK scene finals without a bunch of disconnecting. We are currently experiencing a couple of ping issues for one of the players in the game, so got a little bit more time to get going before we get into this. Get first of the best of 5 here. Hopefully, these the lag issues and the disconnect issues are going to be resolved fairly soon. But, you know, got a little bit more time to talk about. One thing to note is Beely has gone for the cleanse in this matchup. Yeah. Typically, we've seen most LeBlancs run the teleport so they can have impact on the map. Obviously, Ignite is, I want to kill you and I want to kill you early and snowball the lane. The cleanse is, I respect that you're an Aftershock Lissandra, so my kill potential on you is very, very low. And I'm a little worried about getting caught out by you in return. So I actually think that's a pretty nice pickup there for Beely. Now, I can't remember what Frozen Tomb actually counts as. Is it a suppress or a stun? Because I can't remember if cleanse actually works on it.
It's a stun.
It's a stun. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Because you can't obviously cleanse Malzahar ults anymore and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a stun. Thank you.
I don't think you've ever been able
on my screen. So yeah, the cleanse will work on being able to deal with Joppa. No, Vango. Sorry, Joppa's also got cleanse, funnily enough. But yeah, looks like the ping issues have resolved and we are finally loading through into the game. So it won't be long before we get into our first game of the day.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. Like I said, this matchup always delivers. We've got some very, very fun drafts, I think, more importantly, coming into game one. We've got Kha'Zix, we've got Lissandra. Xin Zhao has been taken off the ban list and has somehow made its way through onto Summoner's Rift. And again, you know, seeing Mankey on something like the Seraphine, and there is no Braum this time to block out armors or things like that. They made sure of it. And the way that MNM like to play team fights, they will dogpile on top of you. So
they will indeed.
Seraphine can definitely provide a lot of value. I think when it comes to London, they don't really have a lot of peel tools. So some of these divers, like the Renekton and the Xin Zhao, may be a little bit difficult to deal with, especially when you're talking about being facilitated by the Karma on top of that. So we're gonna have to keep our eyes on how exactly London do deal with some of these grouped up situations. Oh no. Oh, no, again. No, the pause. The Gdanika's items.
Oh, God.
No, Gdanika.
We're starting finals with a sad Gdanika play.
Let's hope that he drops a ward and resets, but it doesn't look like he's going to do it. It doesn't look like he's going to do it.
Yeah, you do at least get a reward now for leaving base.
Yeah, that's problematic. Let's talk about some of the implications of this, because it doesn't look like he's even going to notice. And that's what happens sometimes. When you have a pause at the start of a game, you will forget your items if you don't buy them. And it is a very Gdanika thing. So, implications of this. Xin Zhao, firstly, please do not take the blue buff Gad. I hope you recognize that you don't have the jungle item. It looks like he's probably going to do the blue buff. Okay, so 30% XP on the first buff. Not a great start. For No Name, this means he's going to have a really easy time first full clip. Because there's not going to be any pressure from the Xin Zhao. I think he's noticed now.
The worst thing is he's wasted one of his smites, so the smite upgrade comes even later. Oh, God, so sad.
Right.
Yeah, because you have to get those 5 smites down, don't you? So he's wasted one of his smites, which means he's now got... What is the cooldown on smite? Is it 30, 40 seconds?
90 seconds per full.
90 seconds. So he's got 90 seconds.
Wait. Yeah, it's 90 seconds per full charge. Yeah, it's a minute and a half per full charge. Yeah, so...
There we go.
Still level 1. No Name is about to finish his 3rd camp, whereas Gdanika is still level 1 and yet to finish up a full camp, technically, by jungle terms. So, what does this actually mean for the early game? It means Gdanika likely not going to be able to find anything crazy. However, it's a Xin Zhao. So what I'm expecting potentially is that he kind of says to hell with, you know, the farming. And he tries to find a little more lane impact somewhere. But bottom side, he's got full priority. Top side, he's not going to have any priority up here. Akaz is shoveling in this wave. Looks like he's even going to get a reset off. So I'm not sure exactly what he's going to be able to get achieved in the next sort of 2-ish minutes or so. Because he's going to be in full-blown recovery mode. No Name, however, a lot more freedom potentially to roam around now. He has got level 3 off of 3 camps. So it's honestly doesn't feel as terrible as it could have been. And No Name meeting him up here means that likely No Name won't contest for this skull, and No Name's going to have to retreat back to the Krugs. However, No Name's going to have his jungle camp cycle through, in comparison to Gdanika, who's still sitting on 3 out of his 4 regular jungle camps being at level 1. So he is going to be behind 1-to-1 on XP, and now we're going to start having to gauge the amount of impact that Gdanica can have in his lanes, in contrast to how fast No Name is farmed.
Well, Gad is able to at least move over towards the bottom crab as well and pick that up. So double crab start, but like you said, those camps not resetting the Krugs, the Wolves, and the Gromp, all going to be on a much slower reset. While No Name level 4 was thinking about setting up here in the bots in the top side as Aragon will spot him out on the ward and actually just going to force a bit of damage onto Aragon top side.
A little bit of a chunk. Aka's enjoying the benefits of having gotten that cheater reset off. Did get the cloth armor, so the trades will be a little less potent from Aragon. But in the bottom side, it seems like Clocks and Joppa, for the most part, have had priority. They shoved in the first couple of waves. If they want to let this shove into them, they certainly can, and it looks like they will. As Gdanica's going to take a reset, so he's not going to be here. They want to just have the wave come into them. And now I kind of just wait to see. Like I said, we're kind of waiting for No Name's action till level 6, right? We're expecting Gdanica to maybe find a little bit of gank pressure in the early laning stage in the first sort of 5 minutes, 6 minutes or so. But right now, because of the unfortunate circumstance of forgetting a jungle item. Oh, hello indeed, yeah.
Vango's teleporting in, and Aka's already heavily chunked as Vango just going to bring in the Ice Claw, look for the lockdown. Aka has nowhere to go as he's trying to buy himself some space, but Vango will be able to pick up first blood. Easy as that in the top side.
Yeah, real nice teleport. Coming out from Vango base, I believe. Teleported up to the top side. Gets the setup for Aragon. Dings over to level 6 as well, so he's going to walk back to lane at level 6, so that could be easy gank setup now for Gdanica. Even with the cleanse, the double CC layering can be very irritating. I'm going to spot out No Name, so full-blown information on where No Name is. We'll see if he also hits level 5 on this camp, which, given his farm level and the fact that he's about to clear that ward, he will. Or 5, rather. 6.
Working there. Working his way there.
And he's about to eat the Crux, so he's going to get a nice big injection of XP. So he's going to be around a third of the way, maybe 40% of the way there. So all things considered, not really having a jungler for the first couple of levels. MNM doing a pretty good job. And just like Gdanica potentially eyeing up this dragon. He's got bottom side priority, but he doesn't have mid lane priority. So let's see. There is a lot of wards, actually, here for London. Billy does have mid lane priority, but No Name, however, on the top side of the map. So this should just be a relatively uncontested dragon. And London, seems like No Name trying to find something on the top side to cross map. I think he's on a ward at the moment. I don't know if he's on Skull. But given his pathing, it looks like he is. So that's about all he's going to be able to secure. There is a top wave stacked up, but I'm not sure exactly whether that's a dive opportunity or not. But I mean, that wave is massive, and Vango
is big.
Beely's actually rotating up out of fog. Someone has to cover this, realistically, but it looks like they're just looking at the blue buff instead. No one on MNM really seems too fussed about it. They do have the information that this invade is going on, because I believe Beely passed over that control ward. So they're pretty certain their blue buff is gone, and they even ping it out. So a little bit of a win there for London. Hepe even roams up to the top side. So blue buff for a Cloud Dragon trade.
But the blue buff's going to get taken anyway. No Name's making his way over. Short, Gad's in the jungle, but I'll see how this goes, actually, because I think Mankey may have just done a good enough job to zone Gad on a go away, and if he greets for this blue buff, he may just die. Meanwhile, topside Aragon's getting traded onto, and it does look like Gad was able to get away, didn't steal away that blue buff.
Yeah,
and
doesn't look like it.
There you go. Blue buff for Dragon. It's only a cloud as well, so it's not the end of the world for London to lose that.
Yeah, so very tempered sort of opening acts of the game so far. We have been seeing a little more of this out of MNM, it feels like sometimes, despite the sort of stigma around their gameplay in terms of just being a super bloody team. They do get there, but it feels like they've calmed down in the first sort of 10 minutes, 12 minutes of their gameplays a lot.
Yeah.
And London not really being able to find anywhere to attack so far, I think more a symptom of the draft more than anything else. So now that they do have No Name with level 6, actually, what did he evolve, Observer? If we're not going to see any action, I'd like to just get a quick look.
I don't think there's anywhere to check, is there?
Yeah, no, he upgraded the claws. So You can see in the HUD, the background of the claw ability of his Q is a little bit orange.
Oh, I see. You're right. You're right.
And then also in this skin, it's relatively clear because you can see the claws are a lot sharper. They're a lot longer and sharper.
Yeah, because we had, I think it was last split that was covered. And we just had no idea. Was it last split or the split before? I remember it was me and Orcs mostly. And I used to get so annoyed by it. Because you never know what Kha'Zix had unless it was particular skins.
Especially depending on the skin.
I think like Void Kha'Zix is horrid for that.
Yeah, like Mecha Kha'Zix is one of the easiest skins to tell what they've actually evolved. Because the effects are just very prominent. However, on other skins, not quite the case. Now, looks like MNM, they're actually not going to contest for this Herald. They've sent Van Gogh down into Fog on the bottom side. And as you can see, Clocks and Joppa have forced Mankey off this bottom wave. So they're going to get 2 plates immediately off the back of this play. Obviously, that is the baseline effectiveness of a Herald. So MNM right now up in tempo on that front. And it's going to be about how London decide to actually use this Herald and how much they get back in return from it. Hepe waiting in this tri-bush. They should know he's there. And No Name and Beely are both walking up, and this is a stacked wave. They need to try and clear this one out, otherwise they're just going to get dove onto. Teleport coming in.
They're going to jump in. Teleport's there. Gad puts up the guard, but he is going oh so low. As then locked down Aragon, who slides in. The Encore's going to connect. The wave has been cleared out. Aragon flashes away, and No Name stuck underneath the tower. He finds the takeout. The Herald's not even summoned.
Yeah. That's big. The fact that No Name had the Herald and he's the one that died. Crucial Barrage.
Oh, it's close. It's not close enough.
Okay. Not close enough. So the fact that No Name dies here is actually a really big win for MNM. Van Gogh.
It's going to get locked down, though, by the beat drop from Mankey, and Akers gives him the old snip. Frozen Tomb's going to heal him up for now as Van Gogh looks for the lockdown, and the tower shot will trade out equally. What are you saying about them not being bloody?
Right? So let's talk about the implications of this play, because all the while this was happening on the top side, Clocked and Joppa just stripped the bottom side tower of 4 plates in total. And not only that, No Name didn't get to drop the Herald. They might have gotten 1 plate and 2 kills onto Aragon and Gdanica, but they traded the kills out. We've got the replay on our screen. Gdanica, the Crescent Guard, isn't doing anything to stop him from taking damage. Aragon does a nice enough job of delaying the inevitable, but before he dies, manages to stun up No Name, and that is crucial. It means that he just drops underneath the tower with the Herald. Beely just leaves no longer needed on the top side. Van Gogh, all the while as well, finds the kill on Tepe in the bush, Frozen Tombs underneath the tower, and actually W roots Akers underneath. And if Mankey takes another tower shot there as well, because it was ramped up damage, I think even with about 400 HP, he might have died too. So kind of lucky London to walk out that one. Yeah, the Thrall. Yeah.
It would have been a double kill. It was very, very close, and Mankey lucky to get away with his life. Herald not summoned. Honestly, they need to find first tower blood now with this Herald to get the cost effectiveness of that playback. They may just look to try and chip away at the top of the mid wave, but Clocks comes in and just gives the empowered inner flame off, and that's enough just to clear through the wave. And MNM now got the priority. Dragon spawning up now. It's an Infernal Drake as well, so MNM going to be able to pick up their 2nd dragon of the game, and they are looking towards a potential sole win condition here.
Yeah, 22 minutes once this dragon is dropped. It doesn't look like we're going to see a contest. And No Name's walking up to the top side, so immediate reaction play. We could see Beely as well actually just drop off this wave unless he has to sit there and collect it, because Dropper and Clocks push it in. It looks like it will just be a 2-man up towards the top side. Could just see Aragon either yield the wave or he could try and hold on to the tower. But Akers on the Gwen and the Kha'Zix, a very strong duo in terms of dealing a lot of damage, but not a lot of lockdown. So let's see how they want to play this one out. You can tell Aragon relatively weary because of Akers' positioning that this is about to go down potentially, but No Name doesn't look so confident in wanting to pull the trigger here.
I think there was a bit of a lack of knowledge. The bot lane, obviously in the mid side, he knew that Clocks could roam over fairly quickly. Van Gogh's teleport would be back there, would be aware of that. So I think it's a little bit of a scarier one to go for that dive when you know that everybody is heavily leaning topside, expecting this play to happen. And Van Gogh quite happily making his way down towards the bot side. They've still got 1 minute left on plates, and if he's quick enough, he might be able to take that turret in time, but London again leaning towards this top side. This time they don't have No Name, so I doubt we're going to see any action there. And I think the plates are going to fall off before Van Gogh can finish the tower off, as Mankey has got into the area in time. But still, MNM looking to set themselves up for that first tower blood bot side, while Aragon continues to absorb a lot of pressure for his team and not really yielding much in response.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if London go to make this play, Van Gogh does have teleport. He's a little bit in front of Mankey right now, but he can respond to this dive.
Well, there's the Dominus. They're looking to lock down one. The tower shots are coming in, and Akers is taking so much damage. Clock flashes away. The tower shot will be able to finish him up. Vango comes in with the Everfrost. Can't quite lock everybody down as he follows up through the chain as Beely comes in. A great tomb onto himself to keep himself going. Now the first throw there. No Name has to be very, very careful. The pop could do it. The True Shot Barrage not going to be quite close enough, and Beely able to survive. Tower able to survive.
Goodness me.
MNM got the bot lane tower.
Yeah, I think the Thrall actually changed aggro because it lost vision of No Name there, and it went onto the Blanc clone. I think that's how that interaction just happened on our screen. But either way, we said, you know, London, they really want to drop the Herald on the top side. They did get to, and I'm pretty sure that was well within the time of getting some plates, but again, traded out by MNM. Vango is 5-1 on this Lissandra right now. 5 out of 6 kill participation. He's having a pretty good game so far in terms of impact and finding, you know, response plays to wherever London want to make plays. Absolutely. And it tends to be the top side right now.
I think Aragon's done a fantastic job of absorbing all this pressure. He is down about 30 CS, give or take, to Akers at the moment. But Gordrinker now finished up. He's brought a lot of time and pressure for his team. And you're now looking at 5-1 Lissandra. The Everfrost is finished up. It's got the lucidity boots. And when we get out of this, I'd love to quickly highlight the gold as well, just because I think Vango and Joppa have picked up so much gold. 4 plates were picked up by Joppa. I didn't see if Vango got first tower blood, if he was in range to be able to pick it up, or if it was just the minions that took it. Because that could be, honestly, the gold lead mid could be disgusting if that's the case. It's a lot of gold that would have been solo injected into Vango. So we'll see exactly how it's going to go. The pause we had has now ended on my screen. Well, at least they're giving us the ready. So we should be getting ready to go back into this game any moment now and kind of take stock of where we are, because, you know, we're at that 15-minute mark almost, and the items are coming in. The dragon's spawning up in just about 3 minutes time. It's going to be an Ocean Soul as well. So one that's going to be really nice for the likes of Aragon, who is the frontliner for the team. He's going to have all that effective healing from the Soul, the Gore Drinker, and then the Sterix if they're able to pick it up. And at the moment, I think they're pretty much set up to do so. So we'll see exactly how this is going to go down as we load back into the game. I'd like to quickly get a toggle on the gold just so we can see where we are in that front. I think Vango should have a pretty sizable lead over Beely, and Joppa should also have a pretty big one over the side of Mankey, although Mankey has got 2 kills and an assist.
Yeah, do have a replay, so that's why we didn't have the gold coming up. So don't worry, Jake. I'm sure we'll get it in a second. But yeah, Tower Dive comes through for London. They've got the Herald, but unfortunately it's the teleport advantage from Vango, which means this is going to be a 3v4 effectively. They managed to 1-for-1 the initial trade, or 2-for-1 the initial trade rather. But with Vango being here, he's able to actually ultimate the distortion. Doesn't drop any lower. Picks up Pepe and then the Thrall. Let's get a look at this, because I think goes into the bush. Aggro drops. Aggro drops. Yeah. I knew.
You saw it jump around because the True Shot hit, and it gave it that brief vision.
And I think, honestly, if it didn't turn around, it might have just barely clipped Beely or No Name. And that could have potentially gone even further. And yeah, 2.2 thousand gold lead right now in Vango's pocket. I want to say he picked up the tower just because of how, like, the time difference between him teleporting up there and the tower dying. I think he should have gotten it. But yeah, oh my god. No Name having to ult away from that. But yeah, MNM right now, it's only a 1,000 gold lead. I think mostly in part because London put so much time and resources into Akers, and not only that, No Name also finds himself several thousand gold up, 1.7 thousand gold on Gdanica right now. So the top jungle of London, very, very fed. So I'm expecting to start to see a little bit of shift. Not necessarily in priority, but where they want to make the skirmishes happen, and in terms of trying to make it 2v2s, 2v1s with this Kha'Zix and with this Gwent. If they can do that, I think they'll find more successful fights, and they have to try and do it whilst the Vango doesn't have teleport. And right now, they've got about 2.5 minutes, if I'm using my my guesstimation skills right, until Vango has teleport.
So Akers trying his best to be able to handle Vango. Pulls him in for the Frozen Tomb. The Inner Flames there, and Akers actually buying some space. Vango flashes away. Everfrost not going to hit, and that needlework.
Wow.
Doing so much damage to the 3 members of MNM. Nobody dies, but they do have to back away and play a little bit more respectful. Meanwhile, Joppa getting jumped onto by everyone. The teleports are coming in. Oh my god. Joppa is chunked. Teleport comes in from Aragon. He's a little bit too slow. He's a little bit too late as the Encore will pull him in for the charm. Aragon able to survive for a little bit of time as the double kill picked packed up for No Name.
Yeah, No Name on this Kha'Zix is super fed. He's got the Eclipse, he's got an extra serrated Dirk, and a pickaxe on top of that. And because he's got the evolved claws, that isolation damage, which we just saw, is absolutely massive. You cannot survive 1v1 against him, and now they're going for more.
They're going for Vango. Vango's going to get chained up. He's going to get locked up. Goes in for the stopwatch for the moment. Gad slides in underneath the tower. The Everfrost is there. A lot of space, a lot of time's being bought by Vango. But he finally falls, and London find 2 underneath the tower.
Yeah, this is the thing. The numbers advantage of this fight. If Aragon was able to TP to this, or if Godunako is here to disrupt the fight on top of all that CC, that's a fight that MNM can win. But London, well-timed. They understand their windows to take that dive. They're not even necessarily doing it so they can get the tower. They just want the confirmed priority to secure this dragon, and that's exactly what they're going to get. The soul condition no longer there. The early soul condition no longer there for MNM, and this will be their ocean dragon picked up. And Herald still in the back pocket of MNM, so we have to consider that that can be used somewhere. It looked like the initial place to use it was going to be the top side, but Akers plays out the dive relatively well. He just survives it with the W on the top side. Doesn't end up dying. Just take a look at this damage, man. Auto attack plus the Q. It's just so much. And Aragon, honestly, I think he teleports at an okay enough time. But the issue is, Jumper just dies too quickly. He just doesn't expect to actually eat that much damage from the Kha'Zix, and then the dive to follow up. Absolutely spectacular. London, they understand this numbers advantage. As long as they're not eating too much CC underneath the tower and the right members are tanking up the tower shots, they can make this dive happen, no problem, and that's exactly what happens.
I think Jopper's a little bit used to the Divine Sunderer build. I think that's what it is. He's used to being a tank. Not used to full assassin as well, because the Serpent's Fang has now been finished up for No Name. So the shielding from clocks is going to be a lot less effective. And obviously when these Sterics come through from both Gad and Aragon, it's going to be even harder to handle that. You got the Ludens, you got the Void Staff picked up onto Beely. Beely's going to miss chains, but you know, he's starting to spike pretty hard himself on this LeBlanc. Obviously, he didn't have quite the dominating lane phase, but that is due to the fact that they did pick Lissandra into him. Honestly, I feel like MNM kind of played that draft in the way where they had the control over at least those first couple of rotations.
Yeah.
Just with that Xin Zhao pick, they forced out that LeBlanc early from Beely and had this Lissandra prepped and ready to go into it. You can see that from the way that Vango's been playing. He's now got his Zhonya's Hourglass finished up. The Mirror Mana has been finished for Joppa as well. So a lot of these 2 item spikes for the carries are coming in for the side of MNM.
Yeah, they are starting to roll through. I think, generally speaking, on the draft quite quickly. Handled pretty well by both sides, in my opinion. I just think, honestly, Godunako not getting the jungle item at the start really did slow down the tempo that MNM could maybe attack some of the lanes. Now, Beely, he's got a flank, and there's no vision there. Clocks, about to face check.
Clocks gets double chains. The chains go wide. That was unbelievably close.
That was a lot of damage. Clocks didn't even have heal, so pretty nice window, but they still do find, or Beely finds Clocks' flash, so not going to have that for the next team fight. Means that he is a vulnerable target against, you know, the duo assassins, any of this sort of throw over the top CC from the Seraphine or the Leona. Next team fight could look pretty scary for him, but generally, I think if we sort of take a step back and look at the items everywhere as well, not just for MNM. 2 items on that Kha'Zix. Akers has the Riftmaker available. He's making his way towards the second item shortly. Mankey, crucially, has that 2 item spike that you want to see on the Seraphine, the Moonstone, and the Putrefier to reduce some of the healing available to both frontliners. And of course, Beely, Ludens, plus the Blinding Jewel. So, going to be okay dealing with any magic resist picked up.
I love that Putrefier on Seraphine.
Yeah.
There's a couple of champions that use that item incredibly effectively, and Seraphine is one of them.
Absolutely.
The big AoE shielding and healing and stuff like that, it just applies that massive grievous wounds to everyone and makes them very hard to handle. You know, you got the double gore drinkers, you got a lot of sustain from the 2 frontliners for MNM, so being able to cut through that alongside with the Serpent's Fang on your assassin, it's going to be very hard for MNM to handle. The team fighting in London right now as Beely finds himself caught out, instantly cleanses, but it's a little bit too quick. He flashes away, chains in the wrong direction, and Gad's able to take him down. The Encore clips on 2-1 for the moment. Vango's going to go into the stopwatch. He's buying himself some space for the moment as he's caught out. Akers takes him down with a needlework, and London are just running for MNM here.
Yeah, they find the return kill. They're able to lock down Vango. You can see the value of the cleanse. If Beely just had a different summoner spell, Beely would have died on that initial face check.
Yeah.
And because of that, it means that they have to overcommit. Godunako flashes in. Vango, I believe, takes Glacial Path little bit too deep as well to make sure they secure Beely. That gives London enough time to pick up that trade kill. Dragon, 50 seconds away. I think right now the priority setup could be in London's favor if they want to go and take it. Oh my goodness.
That was nice.
Very touch and go.
Vango's got teleport.
Yeah.
So he will be able to join up with the team. Beely does not. So Beely having to walk down. Vango's teleporting in, and it looks like MNM sniffing for that fight, but there's the W evolve you talked about a bit earlier.
Vango could get a nice flank angle here. If he just wants to sit and wait, play his time. You can see he's got the sweeper. Oh, there is no vision here. He's going to take it. He's on Beely.
Vango has found him, though, and Vango not going to be able to do too much other than just throw him out a quick auto attack. They now know that Vango is on that flank, and Akers is just going to start snipping away at the tower. MNM may just sacrifice it for the dragon and pulling Akers down as Vango now joins up with the rest of the team. Joppa has to be careful. They're looking for the solar flare onto multiple members. Joppa jumps in already. Akers has made his way in with a needle.
Oh my god.
Gad's already down, and it's a double kill. Picked up for No Name. The snip comes down, and it's a triple kill for No Name, along with the dragon. London playing superbly in this first game.
Yeah, honestly, the ultimate there from Pepe playing huge dividends, and Gdanica just diving in onto Pepe as well. A little bit confusing, a bit of a head scratcher from me. Well, London, they're going to just move up to the Baron. I mean, they pick up the jungler, they pick up mid and the support. Joppa and Aragon have no business being able to contest this, so this should be a 23-minute Baron on the clock for London. And let's see what they can get done, because there's a lot of towers still standing. Bot tier 1, mid tier 1 as well. The most obvious ones to pick up, and all of the inners. There's a lot of standing gold here for London to pick up, so they can really balloon this gold lead. Oh no.
True shot. No, gonna hit.
Our observer loves to bait us with things like that.
He plays the bait. He
does. So, London, pretty big advantage right now. They've got the Baron, they've got map control, got a gold lead. Talk about what MNM have to do after this replay potentially to make it back into it, because this fight, I just don't understand why you'd want to go in to Hepe. And not only that, the ultimate in response is just beautiful, and look at the encore. 3 members locked up, immediately taken down. Vango does buy some time to potentially save his other teammates with a self-frozen tomb, but quite frankly, that fight was a complete rout. Nothing more that MNM could do about it, other than just not go in at that kind of moment. MNM from this position, they kind of just... They have to sit back a bit. They have to try and use some of the CC available to the Lissandra, try and create pockets of fog, and wait for the likes of No Name or Beely to...
Oh, they're jumping in there. They're looking for the fight. Gad's already popped the Crescent Guard used, and nothing lands. Vango now might find himself in a bit of trouble as he continues to just be a nuisance and poking away, but the beat drop's going to connect, and Vango able to survive. Meanwhile, Beely in the bottom lane,
top side,
and Akers in the top lane, just playing the side lane. This is exactly what you said you wanted to see out of them, Jamada. Yeah. And they're doing it.
They are, and I mean, yeah, if you MNM, go now.
They're looking for the lockdown onto him, but they can't quite find it as Aragon comes in. Solar Flare only comes in for the slow. There's the encore to a couple of members. Jepe's in the middle of everyone, and Vango's trying to find the lockdown, trying to find the ability to kill No Name, but he won't go down. Meanwhile, London are just annihilating the backline. They've already lost their jungler, they've already lost their AD, and Vango completely cut off from the rest of his team as Aragon tries to chase down Mankey, but Mankey won't be yielding here, and the beat drop over the wall will secure Vango's demise to Jepe, although Jepe is out of mana, but Vango is out of teammates. He's out of time. He finds himself a kill to give himself another teammate as the Frozen Thrall will chase No Name. But at the end of the day, London just annihilate MNM in that team fight.
Yeah, and I mean, that was the window that MNM kind of had to go for, if you're me. I think, you know, you've got Beely on the bottom side, Akers on the top side, split pushing. Just go for the numbers advantage fight in the mid lane at that point. If you yield the towers, I mean, if you lose the towers, yield them. That's kind of the way it has to go right now. Look for the shutdowns or something. But unfortunately, teleport comes down almost immediately as the engage comes in, and MNM find practically nothing in the back of this fight. We'll get the replay of it. And this is the exact window. You have to take it. Hepe steps a little bit too far forward. The rest of London definitely in the correct position. But as soon as you see MNM start to overcommit, teleport immediately comes down, and the response from London is spectacular. MNM a little bit too scattered in general. I think they have to try and play a little more deathball-y. But even then, if you try and play in deathball-y against the likes of the Seraphine and the Gwen, I don't even know how well that works for you. Even if you've got a Karma at this point when you're so far behind against the Baron buff, they try and chase down, but it's just not quite enough. I think London starting to pull away with this one. 7,000 gold lead right now.
It's getting rough. MNM, they were the team who were, you know, ahead in tempo in areas, but playing through the top side turned out to work really well for the side of London. You got a 9-1 Kha'Zix. On the enemy team, it's a 1-4 Renekton and a 1-4 Xin Zhao. They are significantly far behind, but MNM are not yielding pressure yet. They got a big wave to work with. They're going to be able to take this tier 2, and that's going to be a big cash injection when it goes down. Aragon shouldn't be able to hold this wave.
MNM are quite far ahead on tempo here. They're going to get an inhib at the very least, but how far will London go on the bottom side is my question. Because London have just been caught with their pants down.
Yeah.
Yeah, straight up with their pants down. That's it. Top inhibitor gone.
Dragon is spawning though, so this will be the number 3 for the side of London.
Yeah.
They're in the area for that one.
Yeah, they are in the area for that one now. You know, pros and cons to this inhibitor, right? It's now going to be a bit of a pressure sink, which you can potentially use. However, the issue is you're not the one with the map control. So if you don't have the map control, this is effectively kind of a wave that's always going to slow push into London, which they can just, you know, they'll have to respond to if it starts to pressure the Nexus towers. But it's effectively gold that if you're MNM, you're losing because your minion waves are, you're never going to see enemy minion waves on the top lane. So you have to use this time with the inhibitor very wisely. Aragon.
Oh, Aragon, the chains are able to get dashed away from, but the dragon is killed. And 5 minutes now until the London Soul spawns as Vango finds himself caught out by the solar flare. The CC chains on instantly in for a stopwatch. He has the ulti as well, just buying some space for his team. Got that flash, he's able to get away. The True Shot Barrage does a lot of damage in response as well.
That's Vango's flash down, and that could be pivotal.
Oh,
Beely. Okay, I mean, Beely blowing his cleanse even more so. Right now, I have to say, No Name, Beely, those are the targets. Beely without cleanse, a lot more vulnerable. I think MNM, they have to find No Name as well. 700 gold shutdown on this man's head. If they can lock him down in the team fights, Gwen and LeBlanc are going to be very threatening, yes. But without Kha'Zix on the field, dealing the physical damage, and I think most importantly, the most burst damage out of any single targeted ability, London's threat definitely does drop significantly. Right now, London, all they really have to do, make sure they keep the top side pushing. There's a teleport deep actually from Vango on the top side. I think they're looking for a flank, but he's on vision. Vango is spotted out. They know where he is.
But they're still moving towards him. Jepe's been jumped onto. Vango comes in with a claw, tries to catch out on Mankey. Mankey not being caught. Watch for the encore. This could be game-changing. This could be massive as he drops the beat drop and he tries to find an escape. Not able to do so for the moment. The True Shot Barrage rips through them as Akers is on a killing spree. Beely's still alive. Beely's still got full health, and it's only Vango standing. A double kill picked up for Akers as he snips his way through. A triple kill given over to the side of Akers and an ace for London. This is the base to follow as well, surely.
This is going to be a fair amount of the base, if not the game. They've got another minion wave to follow behind them. They've got a lot of time to work with. But how quick is their tower taking ability? That's the question here. Got about 20 seconds, 15 until clocked, 20 until Jopper and Godanica. Is it enough time to end the game? Both the Nexus towers, certainly. I think it should be.
I don't think MNM are going to be able to handle this one. The towers are going down, and London will take game at number 1 in this final best of 5 as Beely goes in for a quick glory kill onto Clocks. 10 kills to 22. 30 minutes on the clock, and London showing up in game number 1.
Yep, showing up in game number 1. I think that final fight was probably the best opportunity that MNM would have had to have actually picked up a win in a team fight, because they had the really nice flank angle onto Mankey. They had Vango coming in. They had a lot of London kind of scattered in the team fight, but unfortunately too far behind in gold. I think if that was an equal gold fight, MNM could have come out ahead, but London just sort of in these skirmishes, Kha'Zix got too fed. Gwen had all of the resources funneled into them, and London in general just played out the map a little bit better, except for that top lane inhibitor thing, which definitely for me, sometimes you will see London slip up like that. But in the grand scheme of things, you're 8,000, 7,000 gold ahead. Doesn't really matter if you can just force a fight and win the game.
Well, we'll talk a little bit more about that game after the break, but for now it's time for a quick one, and then we're back with our post-game breakdown from the game number 1 of this series.